Dr. Jeremy Weiss here. I'm founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Today, we have one of the legends of technology and business, Nolan Bushnell. Nolan founded both Atari and Chuck E. Cheese Pizza. He's been inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame and was named one of Newsweek's 50 Men Who Changed America. He started more than 20 companies and is one of the founding fathers of the video game industry. His latest venture is called Brainrush, that uses video game technology that incorporates real brain science. He hired Steve Jobs back in the Atari days and is the author of Finding the Next Steve Jobs, How to Find, Keep, and Nurture Talent. Nolan, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Good fun to be here.
So, Nolan, since it's Inspired Insider, I always ask about the lowest point and how you got through those tough times, because people just see you now after being the father of video games, Atari, Chuck E. Cheese. It wasn't always an easy journey. What was the lowest point, and then how you pushed through?
I think the lowest point was when I did some personal guarantees, and I was basically underwater financially, and I ended up having to sell the Woodside house, and I had all these kids and everything, and
scary.
And I wasn't destitute, but it was a thing where the kids were, between 4 and 20, and I was concerned about their lives actually more than mine, because going from living in this 16,000 square foot mansion with a water slide and a lot of goodies to a rental in Palo Alto wasn't going to work.
Right.
And so I decided I was going to take everybody on the long-awaited trip to Europe for a year. And we could do it very cheaply because I had friends all over the world that had always said, "Oh, come and stay." And so we spent 4 months in London and a month in Scandinavia. Now, that doesn't sound like a low point. But just before that, we made that decision, it was pretty bleak. The year before was really bad because we were struggling, and the house went into foreclosure a couple of times, and that was bleak.
That is scary. Yeah.
But I hate to say this, but it was all an illusion. We thought we had problems, but the family was healthy. We were all together.
Yeah.
The Woodside house, in the broad scheme of things, didn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of times you just have to get your head wrapped around what are the important things in life and what are the non-important things.
Just having your kids safe and healthy was what you focused on. It was important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, Nolan, what's been the proudest moment? One of the proudest moments?
Oh, wow. That's a real hard one. I don't know.
You could choose a few.
What?
You could choose a few if there's not just one.
It's actually not the way my brain works. Like, I can think about what will be my proudest moment when I do certain things, my goals. But the stuff that I've accomplished, it's kind of, okay, yeah, done that. I really enjoy
do both of those. What was one accomplishment you had that you had that goal and you had it set and you finally hit it? And then what's the next?
I won the Transpac in 1983.
What was that?
I won the Transpac. It was a sailing race, Los Angeles to Hawaii, and I won that puppy. And 2 years before, I went on the race just kind of as a participant, and then when I was out in the middle of the Pacific, I said, in 2 years I'm going to win this puppy.
Yeah,
and I did.
Any business related ones that you had your sights set on?
Well, hitting 250 Chuck E. Cheeses was one.
Yeah.
Selling, Gosh, I don't know. Yeah,
What's next? You said you've big goals still.
oh, I really want to positively change education. I
Yeah.
think that our education is totally mismatched with today's technology.
Yeah.
I mean, our kids are so much brighter. They have so much more multitasking ability, batch processed. The classroom should be abolished. There should be no classes. There should be no, the concept of grades is wrong. There should be no grades and no grades. People should enter school, travel at their own speed, focus on their own interests, and quit when they want to get a job.
Yeah.
Or move into apprenticeships. It should be, there shouldn't be this broad link between somebody who's in school and somebody who's working, because we need to be lifelong learners,
right,
as well. And so I think life needs to be more of an amalgam of the educational self and that. And I believe that there's so many ways you can learn that you don't want to have it be so stilted and pedantic.
Yeah, I like that. And for someone with kids, anyone with kids, where should someone start? Because they are in this system. Where should someone start with that?
I know, and it's hard.
Besides Brainrush, where else?
Yeah, Brainrush and a lot of the other stuff. But so the biggest thing, there are hours and hours and hours of boredom in a classroom, because lecture is just the wrong way to give information.
Right. Yeah.
And what is being crushed is enthusiasm for learning.
Yeah.
Kids don't know the difference between learning and school. They think they're the same. No, they're not. School is boring. Learning is fun.
Right.
and you really want to have these other constructs developed. I mean, creativity. If you look at all the statistics, we're training creativity out of people.
Right.
And it's just anyway, I could go on and on. This puppy.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm wondering where someone should start. Like, let's say you have kids, they're just entering school, or they're already in school. Where should people start? Because they're in the system. So how do you get them on track?
I would be less worried about the system in some ways. I took the kids out of school when we went to Europe.
Yeah.
Homeschooled.
Yeah.
Using the museums around the world as sort of a background.
Yeah.
What better way to learn about World War I and World War II than the British War Museum?
Right.
What better way to learn about physics than going through the Science and Industry Museum?
Sure.
What better way? I mean, and some of the museums and that in Scandinavia and Germany.
Yeah.
So, just being, on the location of the Battle of the Bulge, and talking about what was happening, and they were coming over this ridge, and
you could really visualize that. Yeah.
You can visualize, and so it becomes contextual learning, which is always better.
Yeah.
And I think that my kids have all been very well. I've been willing to take the kids out of school at the drop of a hat. Like, I would always take one of the kids with me on my business trips. And when they were 12, they'd get to come to Europe with me, because sometimes they'd have to stay in the hotel, but most of the time I'd take them right to the business trips.
Yeah.
Sit in the negotiations and that. And I know that one time I was taking the kids one of my boys to Japan with me, and they didn't know quite what to think about it. They thought that maybe he spoke Japanese and was a spy or something like that. And I said, no, I just want him to know what's going on,
Yeah.
what my life is.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my attitude, is that if there's something more interesting going on in school, let's go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nolan, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. I know you have another appointment to get to. Where should we point people towards, and what's some final words we should leave them with?
Brainrush.com.
Yeah.
NolanBushnell.com.
Yeah.
My website. At Nolan Bushnell is my Twitter.
Yeah.
And I don't Twitter as much as I should, but I do when I think I have something to say.
Yeah.
And if you're seeing this from Australia, I'm going to be in Australia giving a speech at the end of next month. I'm going to be in Norway a week before that, giving a speech, and up in Trondheim. And I'm building some really good stuff, and you'll be able to download some new apps that'll be fun to play as well as very learning.
Yeah. Any final words? What people should get out of this? I know I love the ending of your book when you talk about what you told Steve Jobs when he was asking about Pixar.
Yeah, just do it. Just
action. Yeah,
action.
Just act.
Just act.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Nike.
Yeah, yeah.
Change your life. Do different things. Mix it up. Every time I try something new and different, it engages me in a very powerful way.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there's some good brain science behind that. And plus, when you do different things, you create new dendrites and build your brain. You'll actually get smarter.
Yeah. Nolan, thank you. I really appreciate it. Fantastic.
Good fun.
Awesome.
Thank you. Bye now.